Japan has a very rigid legal code designed to protect minors from the full force of prosecution in case they ever commit a crime. Under the Juvenile Legal Code, Article 41 states that minors are not criminally responsible and can't be arrested. Because of this, kids can commit any crime they want and face no consequences. This is exactly what happened to teacher Yuko Moriguchi when a couple of students from her own class killed her 4-year-old daughter. Let's watch as she strategically execute her plan of cold-blooded revenge against those responsible for her daughter's death. Teacher Yuko calmly addresses her unruly and disrespectful class, and while despite everyone is actively ignoring her, she continues nonetheless. She goes on about the benefits of drinking milk to a body's health and collects the boxes after. But everyone quiets down when she announced that she'll be resigning soon. She tells them all that she is a single mother to Manami, whose father is suffering from HIV and only has months left to live. This sparked disgusted reactions from the students, but Yuko assures everyone that she's not infected. HIV doesn't spread through the air or necessarily by being intimate with an infected one. Yuko chose not to marry Manami's father to escape society's judgment so that Manami won't be bullied. The father couldn't even hold Manami when she was born. And so Yuko cared for Manami on her own, dropping her off at daycare during work hours and leaving her with the school's neighbor afterwards. Manami is so fond of the neighbor's dog that she continued to feed it even after the neighbor got sick. After that, Manami has to stay at the school's infirmary until Yuko finishes class and picks her up. Manami also loved the cotton bunny character. A flashback shows Manami begging Yuko to buy her the bunny purse, and Naoki, one of her students, tells Yuko to just get Manami the stupid purse. Yuko tells Naoki that he was right, and thought that perhaps if she had just bought the purse that day, then Manami wouldn't have died. The police ruled Manami's death as accidental, and Yuko didn't believe it one bit, so during Manami's funeral, she vowed to get revenge. Yuko tells her class that Manami is dead and the killer is among them. Yuko explains that under the Juvenile Code Article 41, kids committing crimes, even murder, won't go to prison. There was a case when a 13-year-old girl poisoned her entire family with cyanide for reasons unknown. The girl even posted it online on her blog, and the mass media dubbed it as the lunacy incident. This got the girl disturbingly famous and even earned her a cult following. She was sent to a juvenile facility and after a few fake apologies, was released back to society. However, the teacher who taught her about the chemicals was mercilessly prosecuted. Yuko prefers to not make the killers' identities public, so she names them Student A and B. Student A appears to be an excellent student on the outside but has some disturbing hobbies. He sees himself as an inventor and creates machines to torture and kill small animals and even posts them on his website. He even used Yuko to test his anti-theft wallet that electrocutes anyone who opens it. Sometime later, Student A wanted to enter his wallet into a science fair and needs his homeroom teacher's approval. Yuko was hesitant at first, which pissed off Student A, but the school principal tells Yuko to not worry. And in the end, it was the anti-theft wallet that won the science fair, and the bunny purse Yuko found in Manami's belongings had the same electronics in it. By now, the whole class has a strong idea who Student A is, which is Shuya. A flashback shows Yuko confronting Shuya about the bunny purse, and he appears to be stricken with guilt at first and attempted to jump, but simply said, "Just kidding." He then happily explained how he did it as if the mother of his victim wasn't even there. Shuya's motivation for killing was simple. He wanted the whole world to know how superior he is by winning the science fair, but instead of getting first page on the news, the lunacy incident got it instead. Shuya is angry at the thought another 13-year-old got famous instead of him. Student B, which is Naoki from earlier, has more brawn than brain. He trains and trains every day but never got into sports. His grades are dropping, so his mother enrolled him in cram school. Naoki begins to rebel and got caught at an arcade during school hours, which is illegal for students. But he got angry when it wasn't Yuko who picked him up at the police station. And he got even more pissed when his punishment was to clean the pool for 2 weeks. Shuya approaches Naoki out of the blue and decides to tell him about his plan. Shuya created a more powerful version of the anti-theft wallet and wanted to test it out, and Naoki suggested Manami. They see her one day feeding the neighbor's dog from poolside and tricked her into taking the bunny purse. The shock causes her to faint, but the two boys thought that it killed her. Shuya proudly tells Naoki to tell everyone that he was the one who did it so he can get more famous than the lunacy incident girl. But Naoki was concerned that police will connect him to the purse, so he decided to throw Minami into the pool to make it look like she fell in. Naoki confesses all this with his mother present, but his mother still thinks that Naoki is innocent and was just wrongly influenced. Yuko confirmed later that the electric shock wasn't enough to kill a 4-year-old and that Naoki's actions is what ultimately led to Minami's death. And even if Yuko tells this to police, the worst that could happen to Shuya and Naoki was simply parental supervision. She wanted the two killers to feel the full guilt and remorse of their actions so she could guide them back to the right path. To achieve this, she injected HIV blood from her husband into the 2 milk boxes that Shuya and Naoki drank earlier. The whole class panics, especially the 2 boys. Yuko tells them to have their blood checked after a month, and since HIV has an incubation phase of 5 to 10 years, that is enough time for them to reflect on their actions and to appreciate their life. Sometime later, the new school term has arrived and the class gets a new homeroom teacher, Yoshi Terada. Terada, being young and new to teaching, is too nice and eager to please his students. He addresses everyone that Naoki has stopped coming to school due to a mental health issue, although Shuya is still coming to school as normal. The whole class received an anonymous message to keep the truth about Shuya and Naoki as secret, otherwise they'll be treated as student C. That is why Terada is happily clueless about what's really going on. He asks Mizuki to help him in bringing school materials to Naoki after class. Naoki has become a shut-in. He has frequent outbursts and obsessively cleans everything he has used, but he never took a shower ever since he drank the HIV milk. Yuko visited him earlier to ask him why Minami had to die, and his mother angrily tells her that her sweet boy is innocent and Shuya was the bad influence. The next day, Terada encourages everyone in class to write nice things for Naoki to encourage him to return to school. All the while regularly bringing him his homework and leaving with motivational words to get him to come back. The mother has had enough and put sleeping pills in Naoki's lunch, and while he's out cold, she cleaned him up. This resulted in a violent outburst from Naoki. His mother is getting desperate, not knowing what to do, then she noticed something. The encouraging messages from Naoki's class, when spelled only using the big red letters, spells killer and die. Shuya's school life has drastically changed for the worse. Now he's constantly bullied by the whole class, and they all even made it into a point system. But Terada, who is as clueless as ever, thought that Shuya is being bullied because the whole class is jealous of his smartness and good grades. Terada received an anonymous letter about the bullying. That is why the whole class immediately suspected Mizuko, because not only is she with Terada a lot, but she scored 0 points in the class Shuya bullying point system. Everyone then mercilessly bullies both Shuya and Mizuko. Even despite all this, Mizuko feels strangely drawn to Shuya. Shuya took a blood test which turned out to be HIV negative. Yuko was only bluffing back then. Mizuko and Shuya gradually become close and start trusting and talking to each other about their true selves. Eventually, Shuya has had enough of the constant bullying and threatens the whole class. Naoki also eventually snapped and harmed himself at a local grocery store. His mother picked him up and desperately tells him to not feel guilty about Minami. This is where Naoki tells her about the HIV milk Yuko gave him. The mother gets very angry, but then Naoki openly confessed that Minami woke up just before he threw her in the pool. It was his conscious decision to kill her. And as if on cue, teacher Terada is at the front door again, loudly encouraging Naoki to return to school. He promises to fix all Naoki's problems so Naoki can really depend on him. After the mother drives Terada away, she immediately felt the burden of guilt of Naoki having intentionally murdered an innocent child, that she decides to kill herself and take Naoki with her. But that didn't go exactly as planned, as Naoki survives the attack and retaliated and ended up killing his mother. As he sits there in a daze, he confesses the truth in his story. That he's always cleaning and pushing his mother away so she won't get infected. That he already forgot why he chose Minami as the target. That he's been so lonely and he thought Shuya approached him to be friends, but instead he used him for his schemes. That Shuya told him he's dumb and a failure and will never amount to anything. He also tells Naoki to tell everyone that his electric purse was the one that killed Minami. But as a final act of defiance against Shuya, Naoki willfully throws a conscious Manami into the pool. Shuya's mother is a talented academic and professor but had to give up her career to take care of him. But before long, she has grown to resent Shuya and started blaming and hurting him. Shuya's father had no choice but to divorce her. So Shuya's mother left and never looked back. Later, his father remarries, but Shuya never really connected with his new family and still longs for his biological mother. He thought that if he studies really hard, his mother will recognize his genius and she'll return to him. That is why he created the horrible animal torture website and even why he joined the inventor competition in the first place. Even Manami's murder is another sick way Shuya wanted to get his mother's attention. That day when Yuko infected Shuya's milk with blood, he appeared terrified and runs away from class, but he was actually overjoyed since if he gets terminally sick, his mother will have no choice but to return and take care of him. Shuya sees the news of what happened to Naoki and insults him for stealing his kill and caring so much for his mother. Mizuki tells Shuya that he's exactly the same with his mother, which pissed him off. Mizuki identifies strongly with the lunacy incident girl, so he tells her that she's delusional. This angers Mizuki and mocks Shuya's abandonment issues with his mother. Shuya gets so furious that he kills Mizuki. That same night, Shuya receives an email from his mother inviting him to meet her at her university. He heads there the next day but stops midway upon seeing her in her office. He immediately heads back to his hideout without meeting her to record a video for his website. In it, he tells his viewers that he realized that he's meant for a higher purpose, which is to use his talents and leave a mark on the world. He has created a bomb that will go off at his school after he makes his speech at his class graduation. His death and countless others will be a tribute to his mother. On graduation day, Shuya passionately delivers his speech and afterwards triggers the bomb. However, no explosion happened, and to his surprise, the bomb is no longer in the podium. A short time later, he receives a call from none other than Yuko herself. She tells him that she easily disarmed the bomb and took it. Yuko tells Shuya that she had actually met up with Mizuki before, where she unknowingly tells Yuko what Shuya's greatest weakness is, which is his mother. Yuko was also the one who ordered Terada to keep visiting Naoki to push him over the edge. Yuko was also the one who was the mastermind behind the whole class bullying him. Also, she knows that Shuya has already killed Mizuki and the police are on their way. Yuko condescendingly chastises Shuya for lying on his website message. Since Yuko wanted to deal the maximum amount of hurt to Shuya, she was keeping track of his website activities for ideas and found his tribute to his mother. Yuko was the one who emailed Shuya the invite before and not his mother. Yuko tells the story of how Shuya actually went all the way inside his mother's office only to find it empty. Of how he found a picture of his mother with another man and another professor telling him that she has remarried and is away on honeymoon. Of how Shuya was so upset that his mother has forgotten him that he stormed out of there and cried all the way home. Yuko, of course, knew all this because she was there. Yuko mercilessly mocks and insults Shuya, telling him that he's not the cold-hearted genius that he portrays himself to be. She tells him the reason why he decided to kill himself and take as many people with him was because his mother not only abandoned him but has also forgotten about him. Shuya exploded in anger then and there. But Yuko isn't finished yet. After Shuya's visit, Yuko actually returned to visit his mother after she came back from her honeymoon. Yuko tells Shuya's mother how much he loves her and how many has been sacrificed for that love. Yuko even tells Shuya that in truth, his mother hasn't forgotten about him at all. But before Yuko left the office, she also left Shuya's bomb as a gift under the desk. Shuya horrifyingly realizes where this is going. Yuko tells him that she was honestly praying that Shuya won't trigger the bomb, but in the end he went ahead with it anyway. Shuya collapses on the floor with the image of his beloved mother, the one person he devoted his entire life to, incinerate before his eyes. He's inconsolable as he cried and screamed in despair for what he has done. Yuko calmly shows up and tells Shuya that this is her revenge. To give Shuya a living hell, for him to know that his mother died by his very own hands. She tells him this his penance and redemption starts now, before adding, "Just kidding." We have reached the end of this story. It's extremely troubling to see psychopaths start so young regardless of the family circumstances that led them there. But it's so satisfying when the revenge plot slowly dismantles the villains and strike them where it hurts the most, just when they thought the law is on their side. Thanks again for staying until the end, and if you've liked this video, please subscribe and like this channel. It really helps a lot. See you on the next one.